Hi, champions of purpose. I am welcoming you to this podcast again. This is my challenge podcast. This is where passion meets with purpose. This is a platform where we challenge ourselves with the Word of God. And yeah, my name is Daniel Chris. I am your host for this podcast. Just in case you're just joining us for the first time, kindly engage this platform by subscribing to this YouTube channel. Engage the platform, share it with your friends and families. Let them also be exposed to this truth that we are sharing on this podcast. And I am very, very sure, I can assure you that God will bless you indeed in Jesus' name. So I welcome you once again. You are so welcome. So yeah, on this platform, we have been doing a review of a very, very wonderful book. The title of the book is Unmasking the Real You. And so we've been able to review chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Today, by the grace of God, we are going to be reviewing chapter 7 of the book Unmasking the Real You. If you want to have access to the previous chapters, just check the next video or the previous videos. You are going to see the previous analysis that we've done on the previous chapters of this book. So, like I said, this book has always been a very, very wonderful book that's blessed me. Yeah, the author is still Daniel Chris. Has really blessed me. Yes, there are several times I've gone through the book that, the book has, richly spoken to me. God has used the book to, change a lot of things in my life, my perspective. And not only that, I've also been receiving testimonies about people who have read the book. So if you want to have access to the book, there's a link. It's going to be posted on the comment section. That's where you get access to the book and download it. I'm very, very sure that the book is going to be a blessing to you as well. So thank you very much in advance. God bless you. And so we're going to be looking at the chapter 7 of the book, Unmasking the Real You. Like I always say, it is not just about the engagement. It's not just about you watching. I want you to pick something. I want you to learn something from this channel. And so the title of this chapter is Harnessing Emotional Intelligence. Harnessing Emotional Intelligence. If I want to put that to abbreviation, I would say HEI. Harnessing Emotional Intelligence. And like we always do, I'll go through the introduction briefly, and then we'll start our analysis. So I welcome you once again to my challenge podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Chris, and we are reviewing Unmasking the Real You. So the introduction to this chapter 7, Harnessing Emotional Intelligence, says our emotions are powerful drivers of our actions, decisions, interactions, and so on. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, manage, and harness these emotions effectively, not only within ourselves but also in how we connect with others. In this chapter, of course, we are going to be looking at the transformative power of emotional intelligence and the impact of self-perception and relationship, and how it serves as a cornerstone for personal and professional success. So one thing we need to understand about emotional intelligence, of course, we know what AI means, artificial intelligence. Anything that has to do with intelligence, it is the ability to harness that particular, maybe what is coming before the intelligence. If it is artificial intelligence, it's just telling us how people, human beings like you and I, have been able to harness, a lot of things to be able to soften life, to soften processes, to make processes easier for people who have access to them. And so the one we are looking at today is emotional intelligence. How can we manage our emotions? How can we manage how we feel? Maybe our perception about things. How can we manage it to be able to get the best out of it? Not only to make us better human beings, but also to make other people to have a good perception about us, to send messages to people about us. That is the message we intend to send, not the bad ones, of course, the positive ones. So sometimes we can have Emotions, the author has actually stressed a lot of things here. But let me read this. Understanding and managing your emotions. It says emotional intelligence begins with self-awareness. Yeah, I've met with people who have really, really bad attitude. They have really, really, apologies for the use of that word. They have negative attitude, I mean to say. They have really, really negative attitude. And then when you walk up to them and you tell them that this is what I've noticed about you, they be like, oh, that is how God has created me. You have to just accept me the way I am. No, yes, you have the first step. That is, you've been able to be aware of yourself. Okay? So the next thing is for you now to be able to have that ability to recognize and understand that emotion. Okay, recognizing and understanding that emotion will give you a very, very wonderful perception about what your emotions look like. So we have emotions are often signals that provide insights about our thoughts. Okay, there is no emotion that doesn't stream from the inside. So that feeling that you have that is born out of your thoughts, born out of the activity that is going on in your mind. So really, if I want to know how deep you are, then I can tell by how much you manage your emotions. And when I say emotions, it could be anything. The author actually stressed a lot of those emotions here. We have emotions like anger, a strong feeling of displeasure or hostility. That is anger. And then most of the time, how that gets to give us a signal is anger often indicates that your boundaries have been crossed, or you are perceiving injustice. Most of the time, that is what springs up anger. So we are saying anger is also part of the emotions that should be managed. Okay, people today, when they are angry, they show lots of outbursts. Some people they cannot contain their anger. It is not a very good. It's not a very good. It's not a very good thing. Let me just put it that way. Because when you are not able to manage your anger, you almost cannot handle anything for long. Because you're married, your wife is going to anger you, your husband is going to anger you, your children are going to anger you, your parents are going to anger you, your friends, very close friends, the person who made you happy today is definitely going to anger you later on. So you have to know how to manage such angers. We are still going to management in the later part. So we have other emotions like fear, gratitude, love, shame, envy, pride, guilt, confusion, excitement, empathy, hope, anxiety, contentment, loneliness, surprise, relief. These are emotions that are they are known with human. So if you don't have any of these emotions, maybe you are not a human being. But if you want to now know how to manage these emotions, we have the good emotions and then the bad ones. But your ability to be able to tame your emotion, because somebody is asking, how do you need to manage good emotions? Yes. Some people make promises when they are excited, promises they cannot keep when they are excited. And that's also a very bad thing, because if you make promises you cannot keep, it shows how it gives somebody a picture of who you are that maybe you don't know you are. And so both the good emotions, the bad emotions, these are emotions that we ought to manage. So number one, the steps to managing emotions. The author stressed it here that number one step is to pause and reflect. A lot of times, the reason you still wonder why most of the time when you are angry, you say what you don't mean is because you don't pause and reflect. Most times, that's all you need to do. Pause and reflect. Even when you are happy. When you are happy, somebody wants to get something out of you. Maybe the person is watching out for that excitement, that time of your excitement. And the person believes that that is the time where you are most vulnerable. And the person might want to exploit that chance, your vulnerable time, your unwatchful moment. Most times it could be when you're angry, but it could also be when you are excited. And so you see people making promises they cannot keep. when they're excited. You see people making claims that they are not capable of doing. Some people say, me, I will. And in all honesty, they cannot do it. But because they are angry, they don't know how to manage such emotions. So the number one step to managing your emotion is you stop and reflect. You pause and reflect. Somebody is saying something that is angering you. Somebody is saying, throwing tantrums at you, and you have to just pause. Okay, what this thing? Again, people do this when they are facing constructive criticism. Criticism generally. Some people don't see criticism as feedbacks. Some people see it as attacks. However, the criticism is done, you have to be able to pause and reflect. Okay, these things that this person is saying, is it true about me? These things that this person is saying, can I learn from it? These things that this person is saying, how can I sieve it and keep the one that is good for me and maybe discard the rest? So your ability to pause and reflect with any kind of emotions is very, very intelligent. That is what we call emotional intelligence. Number two way to manage your emotion is to name it. Let me read what the author says here. Giving your emotion a name like anger, excitement, worry can help you to process it more objectively, and it can also allow you to address it more effectively. You ask some people, how exactly are you feeling? I don't even know. I don't even know how I'm feeling. You have to be able to put a name to it, because if you don't have a name for it, there's no way you can be intelligent about it. If you don't have a name for it, there's no way you can manage it. So you have to be able to name it. Number three, then after pausing and reflecting and naming it, you have to now choose how you respond to it. That's the third one. You have to choose your response. You don't respond on impulse. Some people, when they are excited, when they love somebody, they believe they can buy anything from the person, including what they cannot afford at that moment. Yes. Some people, they make promises, like I said, that they cannot keep just because they don't choose how they respond to their emotions. Emotional intelligence is very key. So once again, this is still my challenge podcast, and I'm your host, Daniel Chris. I'd like to take a very, very short break, and I'll be right back. I'll be back very, very soon. God bless you.